after this story came out. Our employee advises she was in no way making a racial statement by wearing this dress. She was simply stating her Southern heritage in memory of her deceased grandmother. It's a really hot look, and to honor my heritage as an Italian American, I'm going to wear a dress completely made of gabagool.
What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
Straight white's not allowed.
A man's anus is leaked like this, like ice cream.
They got stuff that'll whack your brain permanently.
And then they eat the poo-poo.
I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
I'm doing okay. Everyone the realest go round my way. High definition like a Blu-ray. Picture my monster call me Kanye. Now break it to the left, do the break, hey. Now break it to the right, do the break, hey. Now break it to the front, do the break, hey. Do the break, do the break, do the break. Now break it to the left, do the break, hey.
Welcome to the Gay Programming Podcast. I'm Marceline, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Merlin Kirby.
Hello.
How you doing today, boo?
You have never called me that before, and I did
How
not
you doing,
like it.
boo?
I did not enjoy that one. Try again.
Okay, let me call you something else. Hey there, cum dumpster. What's up?
Anyway, I'm good today. How are you?
I'm fine-ish. I think I'm getting I'm on that U-turn right out of a depressive phase. I usually get really depressed in December, and that was in full swing, but I think it was more so because I think that's pretty common for anyone who's living in like America right now, is a constant like state of anxiety. It might have always been there, but I think it's more so for everybody right now. And I think everybody was expecting like the, holidays to end it. And they were like, oh, I'm just nervous because it's Christmas and that shit happens to everybody. And then New Year's happened and we're still fucking anxious as shit like it's holiday season.
I mean, I guess for me, it's more worded like, I'm not still depressed or anxious like I was during the holiday season, but I'm still exhausted from it.
But is it like that you're exhausted from the holidays, or are you exhausted just in general?
I mean, just in general, but also from the holidays, because, being schizophrenic and bipolar and not on medication is a little exhausting, but hey.
You don't need medication for that shit. I came to Portland to have a white guy in yoga pants tell me that the best way to solve my depression is to eat organic roots from Siberia.
Has it happened yet?
No, I can't afford him. He's out of network.
Yeah.
That's one thing we can talk about. You're in the process of looking into therapy.
Trying.
Yeah, you're trying.
I'm trying.
I just haven't tried, and I'm just saying to myself that I'm going to go to therapy, and it's really great. It's really awesome to tell people that, too. Because the thing is, they don't know I haven't done any research on it. I haven't made any subsequent steps.
I mean, what you gotta do is just go to your insurance website and just call them, or get Baker Acted, and they'll refer you to someone. But that was
We're
a
not
little
in
more.
Florida anymore. Can you do that in Oregon? Do they have Baker Act here?
Yeah, everyone can get Baker Acted everywhere.
I don't think so. I think it's just a Florida thing.
It is not just a Florida thing.
We can look it up.
Look it up right now. There's no way.
You look it up. You
Why
got
do
a
I
phone.
have to look at it? You have a phone too. It's in
Yeah,
your
but I'm
hand.
not interested. I don't give a fuck.
Oh,
I don't care what the
goodness.
law says, the rules. I throw that shit in the fucking trash. What are you looking to gain out of therapy?
A lot. But no, I mean, like, right now, I'm just trying to get on meds again, because it's one of those things where, like, ultimately, anything else I do, it's not worthless without medication, obviously, but is stunted. But this is weird for me, because growing up, as someone who has been Baker Acted many times.
I was too.
Yeah, and so the weird thing for me, I've never in my entire life, or my parents never have for me or anything, sought out mental health care of my own free will. Like, I've never had options. It was always like, the emergency room is like, hey, there's this therapist that takes your insurance, you go to them, and we're gonna legally require that you do that for us to say you're safe to leave. And it's like, oh, okay. So it's very weird and foreign to me to be like, actually, like, I have options on who treats me.
The time I got Baker Act, it was basically the moment my parents were like, okay, none of this anymore. You don't need therapy. We had this bad experience. I mean, I've been telling my moms that I've been wanting to go into therapy, and their like response is like, I just don't trust that.
That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, they're literally like Tony Soprano's mother.
To a psychiatrist? But that's crazy. That's all nonsense. That's nothing but a racket for the Jews.
She's gonna have a ball when she listens to that. She listens to every episode. She's gonna be like, I'm not anti-Semitic. I just don't trust therapists.
I feel like with my parents, it was kind of like the opposite. But I mean, I don't know. It's a lot with my parents, as most things are. But her reaction was always very like, I walked into your room while you're doing weird shit with self-harming or whatever. I don't want to deal with this. I want to have the state pay for someone else to deal with this, because of course I was on Medicaid. So that was always kind of the funny thing there. She's like, I'd be like, hey mom, can I talk to you? And she'd be like, no, you go talk to your fucking therapist you see once a week.
Yeah, no, my parents would love for me to talk to them. I haven't for years.
Oh no, me neither. I don't. But yeah.
I'm like that one chick from Dr. Phil who like refuses to look at her father. She hasn't done it in like 80 years or whatever. She just like lives upstairs.
I'm so glad you're making such cultured references today with The Sopranos and Dr. Phil.
Dude, it's awesome. I could just get the mic set up and talk about my garbage TV habits.
Yeah, you really do have garbage TV habits.
Hey man, it's really, honestly, I feel like Karl Marx would have been into the shit I'm into. Honestly. I feel like you get a better idea of what like society aspires to and what like the common fucking voter worries about, and it's their daughter not talking to them because you didn't allow their phone privilege, and Tony Soprano and his mother.
Right.
Those are really, honestly, like, all you need to know in life. Fuck reading Nietzsche or something like that. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking intellectual. Juggernaut.
Yeah, speaking of bad TV habits, you know those, like, really dumb online personality quizzes?
No, I've never... Please explain them. I've never heard of them. I've never had them, like, sent to me in my email or anything from fucking dead relatives to me.
Yeah, well, my friend sent me one, and this one supposedly, like, analyzes, like, you answer all these stupid questions, and then it's like, okay, here's 100 pages of various characters from books, movies, TV shows that have, like, things in common with you, and we'll organize them from most like you to least like you. Literally, when I said it was 100 pages, it was 100 pages, each one with, like, 5 characters. Like, it was from fucking...
Oh my god, that's, like, what every white woman would come over.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, that's, like, the BuzzFeed Magnus Opus.
Yeah. So, my friend sent me that, and the quiz was actually pretty short, which I found surprising, because I was like...
To generate that much information, it's like, do you like peanut butter and jelly? You're kind of like Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
So anyway, my friend sent me that, I took it, and I'm going through the pages, and I'm like, man, I don't know who any of these fucking people are, because I just don't watch a lot of TV or movies, and I was like, girlfriend would make fun of me for that, because I'm just looking at, like, oh, they're from this movie, they're from that movie, and I know you've talked about so many of those movies, and they're ones that, like, a lot of people have seen, but I just have no idea.
It didn't reference, like, the 3 movies you know. Ratatouille, Ratatouille 2...
There is no 2. I was actually... Okay, eventually I did see some I recognized, and I didn't like them, but also I just thought it was really funny how right next to each other it said I was like Sandy from Grease and Edward Scissorhands, and I was like, first of all, both wrong. Second of all, what?
That's a very interesting combination that like you're right next to each other.
Yeah.
It's just like it's one or the other, and I know.
Yeah. Well, that was the other funny thing about it, is I was kind of like, as someone who has bipolar, answering these questions like, would you say you're generally happy or miserable? Or are you mature or act like a child? And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Depends when you ask me.
I just look at my astrological sign.
Oh, really?
That's some fucking...
Yeah, what's your sun sign?
I don't fucking know.
It's Aquarius, babe.
Ladies, if there is a guy who's approaching you who claims to know or does show signs of knowing more about astrology and he's not gay, he's a sex offender. Don't trust him. He just wants you for sex. He only learned all of that bullshit to impress you. That's it. That's all he did.
What's really funny is I was listening to you say that sentence, and I remember being like, I literally asked her zodiac sign when we were talking before our first date, so I'm getting kind of offended. And then you were like, if he's not gay, and I was like, okay, there's my saved by the bell.
If they're gay, then like that's just, you know, they're like mentally deficient. They like, yeah, that's what you need. But yeah, if you're a straight person, like I literally hung out with so many guys who's just like, yeah, man, I know all like my signs and stuff, because like, you know, if a girl asks you, then, like, instant laid.
I do remember seeing, like, a screenshot of a Twitter post years ago. And it was someone being like, oh, this girl told me that her sign was this and asked me what mine was. And you know how there's, like, the compatibility aspect of it? He, like, just Googled most compatible sign with whatever she said hers was, and just said it was that one.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if you're, like, a straight cis woman, like, and some guy comes up and say, like, hey, baby.
Stop.
What's your birth date? Like, if you see that guy, fucking run away.
Yeah.
Run away.
Better run away from me. 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 Better run away from me.
And I think magpies are the best bird.
Magpies? What do they look like? I like birds. I love them.
Kind of like crow. I know their beaks are black like crows and ravens. I'm pretty sure they just look like those two. I think they're all black.
All right, top 3 birds, go.
My top 3 birds? Yeah. I don't know. You go first. Okay, they're... Sorry.
I was so ready.
No, the magpie page loaded.
Okay.
I was thinking of another bird.
List off that info. What's up with them?
Okay,
What's up with that magpie?
They're actually so cute. So yeah, they do have the black beaks, but they're kind of like white and blue, but also a little bit black. They're really pretty though, as you can see.
Let me see them. Damn. This bird is fucking beautiful.
Right? I told you, they're the best bird. They also, since they're in the, corvid family, they collect things.
Okay, so magpies are birds of the corvid family. Like other members of their family, they're widely considered to be intelligent creatures. The Eurasian magpie, for instance, is thought to rank among the world's most intelligent creatures, is one of the few non-mammal species able to recognize itself in a mirror test. What? That's fucking freaky as shit.
I love birds.
How did a scientist know that? Was he just like, he's like, man, I'm gonna...
I guess they can tell how they react to the reflection, because if they start trying to fight or fuck it, then they're like, oh, it thinks this is another animal. But if they don't, they're like, oh, it knows it's it. Maybe?
Maybe there was like one scientist and he just had like a bunch of fucking mirrors and he just kept giving it to different animals and he's like, nope.
Yeah.
I recognize. He's
probably...
like, dude, magpies, they're fucking smart as shit.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me of this one time I saw like this article. I did not read it. So the title of it could be way worded weirdly and not mean what it says at all. But it was basically like, oh, scientists found a way to, like, erase a snail's memory. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know if the snail
What
has
the fuck,
memories?
scientists, people? What are you doing? It's just like, what? It's just like you're so fucking bored. Isn't there a fucking pandemic going on? And you're like, oh man, how do we fucking make this snail forget that he saw me cheating on my wife?
He's gonna tell. No, this was actually before COVID, though, so they had a lot more free time.
That's what... Oh my god.
I just really want to know how they measured it. Like, okay, Jerry the snail, do you remember, like, the number I showed you 5 seconds ago?
They be... I mean, I guess maybe they're interested in, like, oh, if we can make a snail forget something, then we can make other creatures
Yeah, they can
forget
graduate
something.
up to albino rats. And
Jesus
then, like,
fucking Christ, MK Ultra shit
Yeah.
with snails.
Yeah, I thought it was ridiculous.
That's
but
so fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's so fucking funny.
good time to throw in, though, I'm very against animal testing. But, you know.
Not if it's cool shit like that. Like, listen, it's kind of bullshit that they give, like, you know, monkeys, like, lipstick and shit. Like, that's, like, you know, fuck that. Like, whatever. But if you're, like, trying to make, like, a death ray with monkey test experiments, like, I mean, you know, hey, at least I'll give more respect to that than the fucking makeup shit.
Yeah, yes.
It's for a grander purpose of... If we had the technology of making people forget, we could make people forget things like saying literally in the wrong way. Like, we could make... what else could we use to... with the forgetting snail ray?
I wonder if you could make people forget their traumas and if it would actually work, or if on like are they erasing things on a conscious level or a very deep subconscious level? Because if you forget your trauma and your trauma was like, I don't know, a random guy throwing blue balloons at you and it was really scary, so would you still react every time you saw a blue balloon? But just be like, I don't know why I'm terrified of this thing.
Yeah, we gotta reach out to these fucking snail guys to see what information they were able to acquire. Honestly, if you just wanted a snail to forget something, you could just step on it. It's dead.
That's not fun, though.
Yeah, that is true. It is a lot cooler to experiment with the forgetting ray or whatever.
Yeah, do the mind ray on the snail.
Damn, that sounds like something like Germany would be up to. Because Germany, like, after they lost, like, their military and they can't have it no more after 2 times of taking over the world and everything, that they were just like, man, we gotta figure out what else we're gonna do. Might as well make snails forget shit.
I think about it, like, it's funny you mentioned that. So often I think about... Because obviously I'm enraged at the U.S. military for countless reasons, as everyone should be, but sometimes I just...
Fuck America, spelled with 3 Ks.
Sometimes I just go about my day, though, and I think about, like, the budget for the U.S. military, and I'm like, wouldn't it, like, just imagine a world where that money is, like, literally anywhere else?
Yeah, maybe
programs.
We could use that to give every single child in this country free nationalized estrogen, HRT, top surgery, all that shit. We are coming for your children.
Dude, we could pay for that 10 times over.
We could do that to every single child in the world, baby.
Yeah, just put everybody on puberty blockers.
We could do so much. Yeah, I mean, but no, in like in all seriousness, yeah, it's like,
oh yeah,
what is it? Like, it's like 10 billion trillion.
I don't know. I don't like it though.
It's and again, it's all being used for probably even more stupider shit than the snail forgetting ray.
Yeah.
It's probably like, you know, like what honestly were they like what can you do with that much money in the military?
That's such a good, because they certainly don't use it to, like, you know, give veterans adequate health care in living situations.
That's boring as shit. No, we need more trucks.
Yeah.
More fucking Hummers.
We need bombs that'll destroy the entire world, including our own continent at once.
Well, we had to get more than damn Ruskies. That's how my mom used to call Russians.
Really?
Yeah, Ruskies.
I don't like it.
Yeah. It's a really bad name.
Yeah. Was that just her, or is that like
No,
a
that's
thing?
a thing.
Okay.
That's like, yeah, that's like...
Because I was like, did just come up with that?
Oh, you just doxed my mom. You just doxed her. Dude.
Just edit it out, baby.
Fucking shit, dude. You just doxed my mom. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, your mom.
Oh, dude.
Man, what is it with like queer icons being transphobic?
I know for a fact when I was going through Instagram once, one person who's like really liking my stuff on Instagram, but like always like leaving like "fuck you" comments. I went into their fucking profile and they literally on their bio was like, "It's only LGB and all that other shit is fucking made up."
Oh, I see.
So I think it's a pretty common thing, unfortunately.
I know it's a common thing, but...
I mean, hell, there's definitely, like, fashy fucking gays out there.
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, like, I think a lot of people have this weird assumption of, like, maybe not us because we're, like, aware and we're actually in the community, but a lot of people are like, oh, if you're gay, you're just, like, left-leaning. You're just, like, you're just instantly, like, one of us, anarchist or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, more often than not, usually, it is kind of leaning to that, but also, like, hey, man, there's some dumb motherfuckers in our community.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean, just because you say Yas Queen doesn't mean you're a fucking smart. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's also a weirdly high amount of, like, gay liberals, too. Like, and that always...
There's so much.
Well, yeah, no, and that always confuses me, too, because I think about, like, you know, Pride Fest, for example, and how they were literally riots at the beginning. And the same people will be there with, like, rainbow flags draped over their shoulders and, like, buying lemonade or whatever. And they're like, yeah, but, like, I just don't like the violent stuff. Like, we should just vote. And I'm like, what?
You know, like, I think especially with, like, you know, the lib-gay side of our community there's definitely, like, this, like, idea where they don't have a problem with the system itself. The only thing they have a problem with is that they aren't accepted by the system. That's like, as soon as they can become homeowners and get married,
right,
and have children, which is all things I think they should be allowed to do, of course. But you know, it's like it ends right there. They want to be participants in the system. They don't want to like dismantle it. They don't view it as like inherently like evil and nefarious and ultimately like corrupting one's soul. They don't view any of that. They're not on board with that. Their only fundamental reason why they decided to protest and why they decided to face any sort of violence was because the system wasn't embracing them.
Yeah.
And it ended right there.
Yeah, and like obviously I completely understand for a lot of people when they're not anti, like, direct action, but I want to make it very clear, just for anyone who might be listening, that, like, there is no pressure to do those things either, though. There are so many people due to either, like, just fear, because it is fucking scary, or, like, physical disabilities, mental disability, like, whatever it is, yeah, like, because I've talked to so many people, and obviously... You know, I don't know. I feel weird saying this because I don't want to, like, give myself a woke medallion, but, like, I consider myself someone who, at least at one point when I had more free time, is fairly involved in, like, community organization and stuff. And I was kind of all over the place. Like, I'm happy to be at protests. I'm also happy to be, like, doing Zoom calls with the fucking mayor's assistant yelling at him. Like, you know, whatever it is. I've just had too much free time, I guess. But, and I remember people would talk to me and be like, oh, I just feel bad because, like, due to this disability I have, I can't stand at protests for long times. And I'm like, dude, no, like, just do what you can, and it looks different for everybody.
I think the biggest problems with, like, people wanting to get involved, I think there's a lot of people out there who genuinely feel that, like, things are not good. Things are, like, you know, especially for them individually. They're living paycheck to paycheck. they're renting a place and they don't have any hopes of inheriting, being like a house owner or getting out or like upward mobility.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have that sense, and it's just like always like you're always on like shifting sand and never like firm concrete foundations, and that makes people like fucking anxious.
Yeah.
And you know they want to change it, but you know in this country especially, if you're poor, what fucking place can you have a voice? Because it's not going to come from an individual, unfortunately. Because you could be really angry and make that YouTube video saying like, fuck this shit, fuck that, and it all be like really real and true emotions, but you know, you're just one person. There's really no power in anything like that. And, you know, there's no union for any fucker to get involved with or something like that to have, like, some collective bargaining power of any sort. And they're overworked to such an extent that they can't go to that protest.
Yeah.
Because, and also with COVID, that, like,
of
we
course,
can't go to
yeah.
protests because guess what? Yes, it is the right thing to stay at home and not go to work, but also, who's going to pay for rent?
Yeah.
Ain't no stimulus checks coming back.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like the other weird thing about it, too. I guess people focus, weirdly enough, sometimes too much on the big picture, which obviously you should always focus on the big picture, more or less, but I remember I used to know this guy, we were talking, and a very critical moment where I decided I don't really want to be around this guy as much anymore is I was talking about when I would buy, like, because this is when I was first getting into the whole low plastic, trying to not consume as much unnecessary stuff, like, whatever moment I got into. And I was just kind of talking about, like, the things I do to try and, like, shop small and local and, you know, glass bottles over the plastic ones, like, you know, whatever. And I mentioned how, like, you know, obviously there's the literal benefits of that, but there's also like eventually, you know, people are going to see sales increasing for the more sustainable options and decreasing for the other ones, more or less. And he was like, that's stupid because nobody cares, and it's not like you're gonna bankrupt this big like conglomerate just by buying somebody else and like whatever. And I was just sitting there like, dude, why the like, first of all, not true. Like, yes, small changes can make a big difference if done by everyone.
Well, yeah, it's like I think, you know, kind of saying what you're saying, like, that people focus on the big picture.
Yeah.
I think it's actually the other way around, that they don't get it. That the big picture comes right down with people being able to pay rent. Or not having, you know, like, or being able to, like, focus less on having, like, a big conglomerate like fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
Who doesn't give a shit about anything other than profit and is destroying our fucking world along with other fucking companies.
Yeah.
And it comes right down to, like, not supporting them or trying to find alternatives at the very least that are going to... You know, because, like, as much as I hate to say it, the mighty dollar holds a lot of influence in this country.
Yeah.
The only thing anyone can be is a fucking consumer. So at the start of it, it does need to come right down to not supporting these fucks.
Well, yeah, that, and even just, like, because, I don't know, there's all of that, obviously, and, like, yes, I know, especially in the issue of sustainability specifically, like, yeah... I don't know the exact number, but vast majority of pollution is from, like, factories and not individual consumers. But, like,
oh,
hey.
No, and they love to, like, try and shift the fucking... It's actually you!
Yeah, but, like...
Who's the fucking fault?
Yeah, but, like, one of the honestly, like, main reason I let that moment make me decide I did not want to be around this guy anymore is because, like... aside of everything, even if he was somehow correct and I was just wasting my fucking time, if someone's, like, communicating to you something that helps them feel like they're doing something better for the world, or helps them manage the awful, pressing fucking climate anxiety that most young people feel, and your response is, actually, that's stupid. And that's not how that works because of logic and facts. Then, like, what the fuck, bro?
Well, like, I honestly think that people like that, the lame fucking debate lord conservative cunts out there, that's their way of handling with the dread that they feel.
Right.
Because they feel the same damn anxiety that we do. Every fucking, like, millennial onwards, like, past that generation, it has this fucking feeling anxiety in them, just in general. And where you're trying to have, like, an actually, like, you know, arguably productive, like, contributing force to something, like, their response is like, I'm going to have a media career like Ben Shapiro, and I'm going to tear down the libs, and I'm with my facts and logic.
Yeah, right? It was just weird. I mean, I think, like, I don't know, in his instance, because it was interesting, because he went from being conservative to then being a Marxist-Leninist over the time that I knew him.
Very typical.
Yes.
Very typical move from a conservative to an ML motherfucker.
But, yeah, no, like, I feel like, almost weirdly enough in his case, it was just, like, just because knowing his background and stuff, like, very upper middle class family, you know, fucking suburbs.
He wanted to be the vanguard, motherfucker.
Well, yeah, no, and I think about it, and I'm like, I feel like for you, this is your way of justifying your own lack of action and not acknowledging the ways that you, including myself and everyone, but not acknowledge the way that you have, like, forwarded this bad system, because, like, obviously all of us have. Nobody is born knowing.
Oh, yeah. Everyone is complicit, and that's kind of part of the reason why everyone's, like, a little bit fucking anxious.
Yeah, and, like, you know, obviously the fact that, especially in the US, but also across the globe, like, you know, we're running on just generations upon generations of very powerful propaganda. And it takes so much to unlearn all of that. You know, nobody's fucking born with it. Especially in this
country.
Yeah.
I mean, like, literally, like, if you've gone through the public school education system and, like, or even if you go to private schools here, too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's not any fucking better, honestly. They have their own fucking
Arguably, possibly worse.
Probably worse, yeah, considering some of the fucking private schools I've heard about in their education courses, but... Yeah, I mean, it's something that, you know, a lot of people have to, deprogram in themselves. And I've had struggles with it, and it's a fucking big process. And I think some people, when they realize it, are like, oh, how I quickly extradite this is if I just say, like, oh, I understand theory.
Yeah.
Because I know I've listened to a few audiobooks on YouTube from LibriVox of Das Kapital volumes 1 through 3.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Right.
It's just like people who don't like want to help anything. They want to feel like Peggy Hill. They have like Peggy Hill syndrome where they want to be the best thing in the room because of a deep, ever-building sensation of inadequacy.
Yeah, it's really weird. And, yeah, that does make a lot of sense, because it's always those people who try to, like, project that inadequacy onto other people, too. Which just makes them awful to be around.
Yeah, you know, so ultimate goal is if you have anybody who's like, yo man, I'm the vanguard of the proletariat, or if you have anybody who just like calls you comrade,
what?
Block that shit.
Comrade's fun.
Block it. No, I'm. You know what? This is gonna be the first gay programming debate.
No, it won't.
Fem Marx versus angsty vegan.
I will just stop talking.
It's the issue of comrade.
I think it's fun, but you gotta it's gotta be joking.
I don't like it. It's like especially now that I like go on Twitter and scour for like good memes and stuff like that. I've been just seeing so many fuckers in comments just go like, yes, comrade, hello, comrade, hey, comrade. It's too much.
I guess that's weird. I'm thinking of it in the sense,
and they're always like MLs, and like that's just my way of like if they're saying comrade, they're a tanky. They're a weird tanky.
I always think about it in the way of like I don't know, my stupid friends and I in the Discord group chat making plans to go to a thrift store and being like, OMG, the comrades go to the thrift store, like just being stupid.
I feel like if you personally came up to me and you were just like, you as Merlin came up to me and we were just like joking and you were like, hello there, Madam Comrade.
Madam Comrade, that would be pretty funny.
Like, I would laugh at that and be like, you dork.
You gotta be funny. That's the rule.
But my thing is like, if you have any fucker who is in the comments or just like, who's just on Twitter, if you're a Twitter person who's strolling through and you just have like one person who's literally like every tweet he's talking to his big audience where it's just like, comrades. Yeah. Block that shit. Go to Twitter, say, I'm not interested. Do not show this in my feed. Get this shit out of here, because I guarantee you the next few tweets from them is going to be probably something going like, actually, the USSR never did a genocide. Yeah. Not even once.
Yeah. They're like spewing some bullshit about like class
Stalin
reductionism.
Didn't even kill us. He killed probably like 2 people. Like, think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always those people too who like don't acknowledge minority struggle within the class struggle.
Yeah, no, they're the same thing as like Jimmy Hoffa, like labor movement people who like, yes, they have the right idea of like class solidarity and struggle, but with at least the old time labor movements of America, they were just outright racist. This group of people are like, actually, identity politics, that's not real. None of like racism is like kind of dead. Like, it's a real thing, but it's mostly class and, and economics. And I'm like, yeah, that's a big part of it. Yes, you're right, but like read some critical race theory, as Tucker Carlson would probably warn you against.
yeah, it's just weird. Like I've known so many people like weirdly say things that are just kind of like, as a poor white person, I completely understand the black struggle, and I'm like, nah. Well,
yeah, it's just like, well, you may understand the struggle of like another black person who happens to be poor. You may understand that capacity, but you don't understand the idea of like being a white person going into a store and having some motherfucker be like, are you going to steal from me? Right. Or have a cop stop you because your skin color is different from all the rest, because you're in a neighborhood where they don't like loitering or whatever. They fucking have the justification. Like, I think a lot of people's big fucking problem, and I think it's fine that some people have this struggle. I had it too. It's just a learning curve, but like the reason why the experience of a poor white person and a poor black person is different is not because they're both poor, and in this country it sucks being poor, but the fact is that white person's never going to experience the same exact biases as that black person does in America.
Yeah, like the poor white person is just poor, but the other person is poor and a person of color, or and gay, or and like disabled, like whatever it is. And I think that's something that especially leftist movements, I think, at least a lot of the mainstream ones, need to put a lot more focus on. So I know I already talked to you about this, but I want us both to elaborate on it with each other. I think so much about walking through, because am I allowed to say where we live? Not address.
I mean, it's Portland, Oregon. We live.
Yeah, I felt like I heard you say it before, but I was like,
and all the gay programming Instagram, I literally labeled them as Portland, Oregon. So yeah,
Nice.
we're in Portland.
Yes, we are in Portland, and it's so weird here. It's weird to me anyway, as someone who grew up in Sarasota, Florida, and never lived outside of it prior. 'Cause like Sarasota, obviously, so many problems.
Like
here,
it's in Florida.
Yeah. But here it's so interesting because, like, in Florida, they'll say, like, no public restrooms, fuck you, don't come in here if you're not spending money. Also, we'd prefer you to be white, cis, and a man, but if you're not those things, I guess you can still shop here, but we're not going to be nice to you. And in Portland, it's this weird, like, we're going to have a BML sign in the window and a little rainbow poster on the door, but also no public restroom, and if we catch you stealing, we are calling the cops.
Well, yeah, I think it's this other extreme of, because we were speaking a little bit about, like, there's definitely, like, leftists who have this, like, lack of realization of identity politics and social justice of minority people. Like, they're just, like, not quite in there. They're just, like, they just limit it to class and Marxist, like, European, like, theory. And this is here where we're seeing the lib fucking alternative, where it's, they've completely co-opted identity politics. They're like, oh, we're cool if you're trans, we're cool if you're black, we're cool if you're gay. We love all of that. We want diversity. But it's like, they don't like poor people, though. They're not, like, they're the other extreme where it's just like they're with the identity politics, but no class struggle.
Yeah.
No, nothing about that. They want the same system as it is, where you go to work and you don't enjoy that awesome surplus value because fuck you, you didn't earn it, you fucking non-degree having piece of shit.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. Because also, when I was walking through some, admittedly, as much as I hate to say, at least by Sarasota standard, gorgeous Portland suburbs. Very cute little homes, lots of mossy rocks, love it. However, it's weird because, like, again, all the houses have this exact same, I feel almost as if they were handed out to them, like, social justice signs and, like, oh, we want you to feel safe in this neighborhood. We painted the sidewalk rainbow and everything. And then they're like, we do, however, have a neighborhood watch that if you are black and outside after 8 p.m., we'll call the cops, no hesitation.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what?
Or you're a scruffy looking homeless person who's just looking for cans, so he
or even just like walking through because it's a fucking road.
Like it's just like, again, it's they're people who they want all that nice stuff of being like, because again, they're on the same page when it comes to, they don't want to be bigots. Yeah. They don't want to be Nazis. No one wants to be a Nazi, at least on a visual aspect.
Right.
They always love saying, like, what's your pronouns?
Yeah.
Oh, you're she. That's so brave. I love that. Oh, God, you're just so brave. I love you. But then, they'll vote for Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that's like the funny thing, I think, with me and some of the people I have to interact with, where I'm like, yeah, I'll speak very politely. I'll tell you my pronouns, but definitely not gonna tell you how often I shoplift and stuff like that, because I know, like, you're gonna, I don't know, people just have this weird, like, it's very clear where they draw the line in the sand, and it's like, okay, these watered down, quote unquote PG friendly leftist things are fine, but, like, once you get into the little spicy area, like,
well, they believe in America, which is so laughable.
Yeah,
like, it's so they're still patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
They still believe this fucking country has any legs to stand with.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mom was one of them told me, where, like, I saw this article and it said that we were never more close to civil war than right now. And,
Except for when we had a civil war.
And I'm like, well, yeah, we're gonna have Civil War 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
And I'm just like, and I'm like, oh, and she got it from MSNBC, so and I'm pretty sure it was like in reference to the 1 year anniversary of the January 6th riot.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is something we should be so scared of. And they're like pulling up pictures of their Instagram fucking meme shit where they're like putting their legs up on like Nancy Pelosi's desk and having shit-eating grins and stuff. It's just like, this is fucking pathetic. I wish there was a civil war about to fucking happen. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right.
Everyone's just looking to post pics and get clout.
Yeah. That is true, like that weird, like performative activism thing. I mean, obviously that's not activism, but talking about posting photos, like, yeah, there's definitely just, I hate the performative aspects of all of it. Like, my friend saw something. Do you remember what those things are called? Oh, like a land acknowledgement, where they acknowledge where, like, what Native American tribe used to be on that land. Mm-hmm. Well, they saw a rental listing that included a land acknowledgement, which was so stupid because it was like, oh, this property used to belong to this tribe and we need to know that, but also pay money to me, a white guy, to live here.
We're going to say that this was stolen land and we're going to lower our heads, close our eyes.
Not gonna get it back though.
have a second to think about it and feel bad and thank the Native Americans for sacrificing themselves
unwillingly.
So we could be here today.
Yeah.
And then look up and then into their eyes go, back to fucking business.
Yeah. I remember something that I think about a lot, and I think I've mentioned to you before. St. Patty's Day. Everyone loves it. Woo! Irish independence. And I tend to get really upset about it in a way because when I see the same fucking people who don't support land back, who don't support, like, no borders, you know, supporting refugees and immigrants, all that stuff, talking about how happy they are for the Irish getting their independence. I'm like, you fucking wouldn't have been at the time. You're a fucking liar.
And it's just such a stupid fucking American thing to be like, the big thing they focus on is just like the independence of the Irish people.
Yeah, no, and I'm just like, no, fuck, shut up.
When it's white people, we fucking give a shit.
Yeah.
We give a shit about it.
Yeah, no, and it's just, yeah, no, because I just, unless you support both of those things, keep Irish independence out of your fucking mouth, because you don't actually support, like, oppressed people gaining their own, like, lack of oppression.
No, the only time you care is when it's, like, you feel like it's your side. Or,
yeah.
Like, or anything, or says that doesn't implicate
or
you.
like, oh, it happened before I was born, so that's just how I see the world. Like, that's just, of course they're free now, but... Yeah. It was not always that way. And yeah, obviously the fact that it's white people versus white people, like, that's the other thing.
I think also too, I can understand that some people may have a hard time, like, even being able to, like, know about this shit because there are so few, like, options to get, like, good sources of information. Because there's so much, like, media out there. We're, like, inundated by, like this podcast is yet another fucking small little piece of content that, like, billions of hours uploaded every day.
Yeah.
And always competing for your attention. So people just, like, get lost in the bog. And there's a lot of people, especially in this country, there's a lot of infrastructure, media infrastructure, that has been built to minimize people's knowledge on these things. And if they do have knowledge about these things, that we're going to paint it in the best possible light that protects our narrative.
Yeah, and also, just speaking about information, can we... Obviously, there's a grand scale of this, too, like how paying for school at any level is stupid bullshit, but the way information can be bought. A dear friend of mine was looking at something, and it was talking about, I don't remember what culture it was, but one that he shared, present day, but it was like a historical view of it. And he's scrolling through this article, and not only does it have a very, very racist cartoon art of this culture, but it's like, oh, subscribe to this to learn more. And he's like, a paywall behind my own culture that I am trying to access. And it's just, yeah, like, I know that's a very small example of, like, a very big problem, but, like, are you kidding me?
I think if you're ever, like, if anyone's, like, really interested in, like, losing their fucking mind into a schizophrenic mind break, just read, like, the corporate history, like a real, like, good corporate history of, like, things like Microsoft, and just how people have, like, you know, that constant, like, meme of just like, oh, if you don't like capitalism, then no iPhone, or, like, whatever. That they think that the reason why these things were created and why they were, like, improved upon, or these information was created or whatever, was because there was some profit margin to incentivize people to get on.
Yeah.
When actually, no. This information was just created from people who had a generic passion to have, like, a better knowledge of that, and then wanted to share it with other people, and then some dick bag in a fucking 5 billion Wall Street suit was like, I'm going to start an education company.
Yeah.
And I'm going to licensee fee and have a patent on it so no one can duplicate the information without me suing them.
And it sucks too, because like, you know, when people make content, there's suddenly this, like, moral battle amongst themselves to, like, do I charge for it and be able to afford my groceries, or do I stick to my morals and not? Because that was something I got asked by a dipshit family member of mine, like, oh, if you want to get rid of money, then why do you charge for your book? And I'm like, because
I live in a system where that's required. Like,
that, but also literally because, unfortunately, I had to self-publish through Amazon because they monopolized everything. Like, it costs them money to print my book, and they don't charge me that money, but, like, falls back on somebody, and they would if I was just like, oh, for free.
And also, too, I mean, like, especially with instances like that, where you are not exploiting anyone in the production of this book. Now, Amazon might be with the production of the book, but that's not, like, again, that's not really your fault, because, again, that was the only way you could publish.
Or within my control.
Yeah, within your control. But, again, like, if you're someone who is publishing, or, like, you know, even with this, like, podcast, if there was, like, someone who was paying for Patreon or whatever, there's no, like, we're not exploiting a labor force.
Yeah.
We're not using surplus value and not giving the fucking value to people. We're not like Jeff Bezos, who's literally killing fucking people in his warehouse. There's a big fucking difference. You know, like, it's like, I think at least that, like, there's nothing innately wrong, at least in the system of charging the or having, like, monetary value or anything like that. That's not the problem. The problem is that there's a powerful group of people who have all the resources and means and are using that to fuck with you and me.
Yeah. That's, like, the other thing, too, is, like, you know, I think most people, again, especially in smarter spaces,
what are you talking about? Gay programming is like the height of intellectual discourse.
Well,
like current affairs.
I was trying to think of the words left-leaning and forgot that. So, yeah, people mostly in these spaces know better, but it is a pretty common occurrence for people to be like, oh, like, whatever this thing is that you make and sell or whatever, like, you hook me up with a freebie because I'm your bro or whatever. And I have had people ask me that, like, for my book specifically, it always sucks, but I have to be like, no, because, like, the thing is, with Amazon, if I want to buy a copy of my own book, I don't have to pay, like, the actual price of it. I do have to pay, like, $2 and some change for the paper and the assembling and the shipping of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's not even free to me, dude. Like, it's definitely not gonna be free to you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like, I remember always feeling bad, but ultimately just being
Well, you
like, I
shouldn't.
can't. Like,
It's a way for people to make you think that you're, like, the bad socialist, or that you're not a socialist at all, without, like, realizing that, like, Marx wasn't, like, burn money, dude. Just, like, burn it.
Well, I think we should burn money. But...
yeah, like, ultimately, I do think, like, we should, like, get to a point where we should, you know, dismantle profit. But that's, like, the big, like, grand
end goal.
Pictures of, like, what do we do after the revolution kind of thoughts. But if we're talking, like, about subsequent change on the here and now for the average person, it comes right down to how can we make people's labor be less exploited? How can they be a worker in this society or as a group of people and have not just a fulfilling life, but also, you know, a life that, you know, you're getting what you fucking deserve, which is at least $26 an hour. And then tie that to inflation for the rest of time. To ensure that they have a national healthcare program that provides with people so that when another fucking global pandemic happens, we aren't all, like, literally killing ourselves and losing our fucking minds in our houses. Like, to anyone who also, because I've had it. There's a lot of other fuckers who will, you know, at your family dinner meals or whatever, who are going to be like, oh, if you're a socialist, then why do you take a paycheck? Don't listen to them. Because they're literally, that is the dumbest fucking argument in the universe. It's not about destroying money innately. It's about making the process less exploitive and better for all. As a smart little man from the 19th century once said, welfare for all, motherfucker.
There's London in ruins and Paris in chains. Good people, what are we waiting on? Good people, what are we?
You gotta edit that out because I'm embarrassed.
No, I'm gonna leave it in.
Don't leave it.
Thank you so much for listening to the Gay Programming Podcast. As always, my name is Marceline, and I was joined by MERLIN Kirby. We have an Instagram called Gay Programming, where every single day, daily memes are uploaded, so go and check that, as well as getting informed on all future episodes of Gay Programming, which is available on the YouTube, which is Gay Programming, and we also have a Soundcloud called Gay Programming. So enjoy that, have fun. If you want to listen to more, we're going to have more uploads. I want to say a date, but honestly, life is so fucking crazy. We just upload them as we can right now. But yeah, MERLIN has a book, and that book is called Self-Help for Real this time. Hey, I remembered it.
You remembered it.
Didn't even need your help.
Good job,
Maybe
baby.
I might not even need you for the next episode. We'll see. But yeah, we'll have links to all of that and more down below. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Off my fingers, but then he'd play you guitar. Watch as the dreams and blood pour from the scars. And when I finally quit all the singing with one last note, when the monsters in my head finally rip out my throat, and I die on the stage, would that be good? clutched around